Hey guys, Matt Dog here with another video. We're continuing the XYZ Cup. We managed to get a 70% win rate over the last 20 duels, and overall I think it was fine. I probably could have gone ham on all of the floodgates, or maybe have a lot more back row removal or something, but in the end I just kind of swapped out one or two cards. I added like a Harpy's Feather Duster, um, and I just had a pretty good time. So I'm going to show off the deck profile first, although you already saw the deck profile at the start. We're doing the standard thing, Horus Engine, triple King Sark because we mill a lot with grass, obviously grass. Harpy's Feather Duster, just because there's a lot more floodgates than maybe I had been expecting there to be. Kashtira Fenrir is a really nice one of that I'm considering even adding to the normal ranked ladder if we didn't have so many other cards that are also amazing. Obviously, Lord of Family Prison, I ended up cutting one of these out to make room for the Harpy's Feather Duster. Thrust at 3 is a must, especially in this format. It's great going second versus Kashtira because you could grab a Sinful Spoils of Subversion or an evenly matched or whatever you need. Also, it's great going second against Purrelly because Purrelly will also, draw a bunch of cards with their great big monster, and then you can get exactly what you need. Probably a grass, but whatever. Obviously, Cursed Land is great to get a lot of plus and value off of your Imsety or your Diabellstar package. Diabellstar is great going first because you get your, where is it? Your Omni Negate trap. Yeah, you've seen these videos probably a lot by now. Karma Cannon's amazing. Torrential at 3 in this format is great, especially against like stun decks or Kashtira decks. Ice Dragon's Prison is really nice, and it's something I'm considering bringing in the main deck as well, especially against Yubel. But for this format, it's also great against Kashtira and just a number of other decks that I've been facing. The extra deck, we have the level 5 to make with our Golden Land monsters, the level 2, which we can make with our Paleozoic Marrella's. Never made either of these. Dark Arm Dragon in case you have two level 7s on the field. Kashtira Riseheart in case their Shangri-Ira makes an effect and you either steal a monster with talent or you just summon your Fenrir, then you can make your own Riseheart. I think that's pretty neat. You have your Spell Negate and your Mill to Grave going first. Going second, you also have Garunix and Dingirsu. Also, Sky Prison to lock down like a Horus deck is pretty great. Our Rail Cannons, which we can use to one-turn kill our opponents. Dora is sort of a pseudo Omni Negate to like protect your cards, or your monsters rather. A Pop, a Zeus, and a Typhon. Honestly, after this event, I would highly consider replacing some of these other cards with a second Typhon and a second Zeus. And it might be good just to have those for the ranked ladder as well. So I'll just put that out there. I did not end up doing it because this event was relatively easy and it didn't require me to make a lot of changes. Like I said, 20 out of the last 20 duels, I won 14 of them, which is a 70% win streak. Let's take a look at some of the actual duels. But first, as you may have seen from the last couple of videos, we are only 80 subscribers away from this channel making any money at all on ad revenue. So if you want to help in a gargantuan way, get us to the last 80 subscribers. It'll be fantastic. I'll really appreciate it. Great. So going into the replays, we have like 8 replays. Nice. They don't let you show the deck profiles of your opponents, unfortunately. Yeah, apparently letting people know that there's a tangible goal for subscriber count really helped. We grew by like 100 subscribers in like a week, which is pretty amazing. I think it was a lot of people who are already like regular watchers of the channel, but they just kind of wanted to, they never bothered to subscribe, which is totally reasonable. I'm like that with a number of channels too, but if you could get us to 1,000, that'd be great. Okay, so Horus, Zombie Vampire, steal one of my Horuses, which is too bad, but we also get to mill a card. Maybe it's not great to do that in case I draw into an evenly matched, but whatever. In this case, we basically just have all of our engine, no board breakers. They negate Diabellstar, they activate Maxi. We're just going to grab a Zeus just because. I mean, grab an Eldlich just because. We grab another Eldlich in hand. Elemental Burst, and they milled a rollback for us, actually. So we get rid of the Imsety, so you can't send any of our cards to grave. Blow it up. Cursed Eldlands, preventing Diabellstar from attacking, unfortunately. And we keep King Sark in hand. There's, while we're under Max C, there's no need. Yep, yeah, they're so toast. Max C, that doesn't work, dude. Yeah, he's desperate. Yeah, we weren't summoning a monster. We can just summon back our Eldlich, honestly, and win, but we'll probably do one or two other things too, just because. Okay, yeah, he knew it was over. So that's kind of what we run into a lot. Like, Eldlich is so good against, like, stun or, like, these Horus decks. Like, they'll try to make it you can't activate any spell cards. Well, screw you. I have, like, 8 spell cards, but most of my cards are trap cards or, like, monsters that get things going. Like, we can totally outlast them in a grind game. We get way more value off of their resources than, like, we grab a single Solemn Judgment. Well, we have 4 trap cards. What are you going to do? So here, in general, what you want to do when you're going second against Lab is you destroy the field spell and you banish Lovely somehow over the course of a grind game. Right now, we're just going to negate the big welcome. Like, we don't want them getting Lovely even on the field. And this also is kind of weird. Like, the best trap you can set from your entire deck was an Imperm, and we're a back row deck? Like, come on, man. So they're trying to get draws off Maxi, but they activated Pot of Extravagance, which doesn't means they can't draw anymore. Oh my gosh. What did they have? They could destroy a spell and they had a Karma Cannon. Oh no, dude. You can't negate our Sinful Spoils cards while we have this trap in the graveyard. We banish it and negate that effect. Oh my gosh. Oh, this poor dude. So, yeah, like I've seen online, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate this event. It has so many Labrynth decks. And, I get it. Like, they have a little bit of a grind game that Eldlich sometimes has a hard time dealing with, but they rely on their field spell in order to get that grind game going, whereas all of our cards have that intrinsically. So I just like have not had an issue with Lab in a way where I had to like make meaningful changes to my deck. Like we have obviously that time we were able to get Elemental Burst and Rollback to our grave, the way that we did, but we just have so many different pathways. Paleozoic Marrella, talents going into grass, Foolish Burial Goods, Zombie Vampire gets a mill. A lot of times our opponent mills cards from our deck to the grave. Trap Trick can do whatever we want. It could do a mill, it could be whatever. Like I used to run Fiend Comedian as a way to like also get more mills, but with triple tactics thrust, we just don't need that. So they didn't have an optimal hand. They weren't able to get to the gargantuan 8 material XYZ, but we just steal their monster and turn it into a Zeus. So sending all their cards to the graveyard will actually be pretty effective. Oh, I think I actually remember this game. All right, so he does negate our Zeus. We didn't send everything to the grave last time because like we had Sarcophagus on the field. There wasn't a need. I probably also could have summoned Fenrir last turn before grabbing that card, and maybe we would have baited the Imperm. But okay, so basically they have this card, which has an effect where when you activate a Purrelly quick play spell, you can attach it to that card as material. The idea is that they attack 3 times. They keep attaching the quick play spell. That means that you get an extra attack. Or actually, Purrelly Happy Memory attached to it. Yeah, so yeah, they keep attaching spells that allow them to keep attacking until after they've attacked 3 times, and they add a different spell that lets them like draw a card or something, and then they'll make the great big like 7 material XYZ. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna chain block them. You also can do this against Labrynth, for example. I didn't, yeah, there when they activated Imperm, I didn't bother negating it because it's like, I'm just going to send some of my cards to grave at the same time, and they probably have ways to access these spells anyways. So this first one, they're trying to, you know, chain it with this guy to attach it as material, but we interrupt the chain by summoning an Eldlich. And it's really just to make it so they can't. He would have 3 material and extra attack. Now he doesn't. Tries it again. Now we use Zeus. Zeus is negated, but again, we're chain blocking them. All right, he does add the trap, which means he can make a really big monster if he wants to. He gets a monster negate, which we don't really care about. I mean, we do have a Zeus, but he attaches it anyway, so he probably could have grabbed a different XYZ there. And at that point, because we didn't have the Zeus anymore, he can go off. All right, so he has this, which he's going to be able to make into like a 6 material, you know, the unaffected boss monster. And he has a 4 material Zeus. So he actually is doing pretty well right now. Purrelly can definitely be an annoying deck. However, because he summoned so many XYZ monsters, he makes X Purrelly Noir. How many? 6 material. So we can just make a Typhon, which means his Zeus is totally turned off. Unfortunately, he's not a quick effect. And unfortunately, Purrelly Noir doesn't have over 3,000 attack. Otherwise, he would be able to bounce his 4 material Zeus, and then maybe I could do some other things, set down my traps, and his Purrelly Noir couldn't do anything about it. But it only has 2,900 attack, which means it is not like negated or whatever. So at the very least, we bait out one of his 3 interruptions. Because I summoned Typhon, though, I'm not able to summon any monsters, so it's possible I should have waited a bit, but, I mean, whatever. This is interesting. So here, do you just sort of blindly, I mean, not even blindly, you would go after this trap because it's the only one you don't know, and you'd go after the Eldlixir because then I can't summon out a Zeus. Whatever. I mean, in this case, I just kind of let them attack. They're going to try to attach the card as material. We're going to summon Eldlich. They banish it from the grave, but we can just summon from deck. I mean, I guess sometimes people only run 1 Eldlich, but whatever. They're just not afraid of this trap card at all. They just kept shuffling everything else I have into the grave. I grab an Ice Dragon's Prison. We summon out a Kashtira Fenrir, and then we're going to use Ice Dragon's Prison to steal their Zeus, and we would have had enough to attack for game, I'm pretty sure. And if not, we could have turned their Zeus into a 1 material Zeus for us, I guess. So ultimately, I think he probably made a misplay or 2, but, I mean, like, I'm not going to say, like, Purrelly doesn't have strengths, right? Like, the big boss monster is difficult to deal with. If you don't have the right trap cards to stop them, then they going second against them is just GG. But that's how it is against a lot of decks. When you go second against them, it's just harder because they had a chance to do everything. Okay. Draw 2, grab Diabellstar, send probably... Oh yeah, we send one of our Conquistadors, so it can turn into an Eldlixir. So now we have 2 interruptions. We have an Omni Negate, and we have a Pop. Hopefully we use the Omni Negate first, so that Eldlixir doesn't lock us out. I could have totally negated that, but I'd rather do what I'm going to do. Yeah, so I prefer to negate the Rite of Aramazir, because in order for their Adventure Engine to do stuff, they need a token, and that is the only way for them to get a token. They do get to draw, like, an extra card for discard, but whatever. Yeah, so before they can have a chance to summon Imsety, I'm just going to pop their King Sarcophagus. I think there it might have been better to chain Conquistador, so I pop their King Sarcophagus before it actually sent anything to grave. But my logic is I want them to have fewer Imseties in their deck that they can draw into to get their engine going. That's probably the wrong logic, but, you know, everything has pros and cons, I guess. They've got their Horus engine going. So do they have a way to just summon XYZ monsters and attack me and destroy all my life points? Okay, Cypher Dragon. Okay. This is a pretty cool package. Um, Honestly, probably better than some of the XYZ cards I have in my extra deck, just because they don't really come up. I think they had something where I think that one monster wasn't able to attack, which is why they didn't destroy this card here with him instead of my back row. So they weren't able to attack me directly and kill me, but that meant that I was able to evenly match them on their turn. Although I probably could have waited until my turn, but I didn't want them to make another XYZ, so it is what it is. They use Called by the Grave on one, but we still have our Imsety. We're just going to grab an Eldlich. All right, so we do have a non-targeting pop, which we're obviously going to use to take out King Sark. So yeah, look at that. They like had a complete control of the board, and in one turn, just from like resources in our grave, we're going to completely annihilate them. We summon this other Eldlich so we don't give them an extra draw. So yeah, it's like you have one card to go against this board where Imsety will punish you if you remove anything. Eldlich Horus, better than Stun Horus? Perhaps. I think so. I think we just need more people to use this deck and to publish the results they get with this deck on like Master Duel Meta and take this deck to tournaments and stuff so that it gets the respect that it needs. Oh, this is a solid hand. So Diabellstar to get a little Omni Negate, or whatever. Diabellstar to eat up an Effect Failure. That is one downside of running like the Diabellstar package, is on the one hand it gives us a really nice negate and it gets us value off of sending cards to grave. But on the other hand, it does make us a little more susceptible to things like Imperm and Effect Veiler, which most of the time our deck is completely immune to. So in that case, I just destroy their monsters. I dare them to try something else to get more XYZs on the field. So yeah, this was kind of an interesting choice. I guess I didn't really care about whatever Diabellstar was going to summon, and I preferred to make it so they don't draw a card. So I just summon my Eldlich instead. It also means like I would have had to sacrifice my Huaquero in order to summon Diabellstar, but now we have a chance to maybe interrupt something. We'll see how it goes. So here I do make a pretty big mistake. I should have waited for them to activate its effect, because right now they're just putting it on the field. But if I wait just a tick more for them to go, all right, now I choose to pay 500 life points to reveal 3 cards. If I waited until they did that to use my Conquistador to destroy it, then I think their turn would have been over. Unfortunately, they had a second one, or maybe they just drew it with Max C, and so now they're like that Conquistador did basically nothing. It went from ending their turn to doing nothing, so clearly I did something wrong. We can still use the Huaquero to banish their target, so they're not able to make an XYZ. Yeah, that's one downside to Purrelly, is they do keep needing to discard in order to make their plays happen. They have ways to draw again to make up for it, but it's not easy. Okay. But they did have just enough resources so that because I made that misplay, they're able to start doing things. And now they're doing what I prevented them from doing in that other duel, where they're attaching a bunch of materials. 4 material. And I think they can absorb one of my monsters too. Okay, 5 material Purrelly Noir. So here he's making an interesting choice where he's just going to shuffle every resource I have in my grave. So, yeah. At this point, it's like, haha, you only have 1 card in hand and you just have these 2. Did he send any of the cards that allow him to draw? Number of attacks, gain material. Okay, so yeah, nothing super important, although he could have waited until my turn because those traps were already activated and I wouldn't be able to do anything with them until this turn, but whatever. Wow, okay, so he actually just surrenders, possibly because I was going to threaten to make Typhon with, just like using my Conquistador. If he shuffles Typhon to grave, then obviously Conquistador is in the grave and I can get out an Eldlixir. Yeah, I don't know. He definitely misplayed, though. I had way more resources than him. Duel number 5. Staying alive. Yeah, Purrelly going first, you do need to be careful with where you place your negates because they're, I guess you'd call it non-linear, where it's like, oh, I think this is the same duel. Yeah, this is the same as duel. Okay, so against 2828 was the last one. My bad. All right, last 3 duels. Here we go. Yeah, against Purrelly, yeah, going first can be hard because they're like non-linear. Popping that continuous spell as it's in the middle of activating its effect, definitely makes a big difference though, because it's like how they guarantee to get to one of their starters. I've had a lot of duels where I go against a Purrelly player and they can't really do much because they have so many hand traps in their deck, and they just need like that one card to get them started. Torrential, when they have like two level 1s, is probably fine too. Karma Cannon's really good against Purrelly going second though. Makes it, you wait for them to go to battle phase, flip everything face down, and their turn's over. Rikka. Okay, so Rikka is this deck where it's like they like tribute your monsters, which obviously we're again very strong against because we're more of a back row deck. I think they have the monster negate in their graveyard. Grab an Eldlich. I probably should have baited out the graveyard negate by using Eldlich to target the monster or something. But yeah, whatever. I also didn't need to try to use the Imsety there. Because the idea is like you want to get a draw 1 of a mystery extra card, but it's probably unnecessary. Especially because I knew it was going to get negated. But, you know, even though I'm not necessarily playing the best into a going second deck, it's like, I mean, going second hand, like, we still have great interruptions. Okay, they tribute our Imsety, which honestly we didn't care that much about. We're gonna pop the field spell, and then because Eldlich is gonna Eldlixir is gonna make it so we can't summon monsters anymore, we have to activate the Ice Dragon's Prison right now. We banish a couple cards, it's fine. They do end up activating the field spell anyways, which is too bad. They start tributing our monsters, stealing our monsters. So at this point, it's probably a good spot to flip them face down. They have enough materials to make a rank 8 play. They have our Eldlich, so Karma Cannon is one of those cards that just a lot of times can end your opponent's turn if you do it at the right time. Like we did there. Karma Cannon for the win, baby. Let's go. We have a rollback. Okay. We can use it to get out Hapi. Yeah, like the King Sarcophagus line is great. You pair that with a blowout cards like Torrential, Karma Cannon, and then you make it so that on the following turn you're just gonna annihilate them. So he just surrendered there. The Horus engine was too powerful. Yeah, the Horus engine, the Diabellstar package, and the Eldlich engine all have awesome synergies. I love the way that they play into each other. Supposedly there's some new cards coming to, or new cards that are already in like real life Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like you pair them up where you can discard spells and traps to like summon out like some weird like level 4 and level 2 light monsters. But I'm not really, and I think they make like synchro decks. Like there's some sort of an Eldlich synchro deck that's possible. I don't really understand it. I'll probably wait for it to come to Master Duel, but okay, so we do manage to bait out the Arise Heart. Arise Heart can be a bit of a bummer going second against them. Going first, it's very easy to defeat them. You blow them up once they have the right materials. Ice Dragon's Prison, Karma Cannon. We have tons of ways of dealing with them. Going second, though, you need to have the out. In this case, it's Solemn Strike. So we wait until Chainlink 1 Arise Heart happens. Finally, okay, so we blow up their Arise Heart. He can make a second Arise Heart. However, one thing that's difficult with Ice Dragon's Prison is a lot of times you want to banish the Arise Heart, but all of their other cards are psychics, and Arise Heart is a machine for some reason, which can be a bummer. However, in this case, they have a machine in their grave now, and this machine, so Ice Dragon's Prison is going to banish you. And now because they don't have like Fenrir on the field, we can activate a monster effect without fear. He does manage to do this, which is going to allow them to add it to their extra deck, which is fine, but I think they probably should have added a Fenrir to their hand. In that case, it didn't really matter what I set. Like, I kind of wanted to set like a grass, but I had a feeling they would have some way of dealing with it. So I set a card that's a little bit less of an impact, like Pot of Extrav, where I don't really care if it's destroyed, but like if I get to use it, then it's fine. Diabellstar engine, thank you. In that case, they do get to banish my draw one, but I guess I'd rather they do it now than later. All right, we get our Omni Negate. Imsety is on the roll. So now they don't get to banish our Imsety when we use our King Sarcophagus. We would have sent Ice Dragon's Prison to grave to get a Happy. We get 2 level 8s. G to the G, thank you very much. Probably would have made Dingirsu to be able to send one of their cards to grave. All right, final duel. Yeah, now that we have kind of established how my deck works and stuff, these videos feel like they go a lot faster. Like I get through 8 to 10 duels in only like a half hour, whereas normally it would be like an hour because I would take 20 minutes going in depth describing how the deck works. Yeah, between the Diabellstar package and the Horus cards, we're able to send both of our Eldlich cards to grave. So in this case, we get a full, full value F of multiple discards, while also we turn a Golden Land Trap and Eldlixir into another Golden Land Trap and another Eldlixir. So now we're going first against Kashtira. So obviously skill drain is like pretty great, but we had a lot of ways to deal with them. Yeah, because it's during the battle step, they can't even activate it like a Called by the Grave. In that case, the reason that I summoned back Diabellstar wasn't because I wanted her to activate her effect to get a search or anything. I just wanted her to be on the field so that my Omni Negate can still do stuff. Alright, we're going to pop the King Sarcophagus just because we don't want to deal with him. We don't want to let him send anything to grave. We're kind of taking the line that we wanted to last time. And also, like, he would have been able to summon out Imsety, which he's negated, but whatever. Shangri-Ira, okay. I think he's like trying to bait out my Omni Negate, because I don't know why he uses Called by the Grave like that there. So I think that he had one of these cards that he really wanted me to, trigger. Whatever. We're gonna send that card to grave. We get another pop, another Imsety. There. Okay, so that must be what he was trying to bait out. So if XYZ and a player controls 2 or more cards, banish monsters they control so they only control 1. So that would have banished 3 of my monsters face down, basically, which is not great, but it's negated, so tough luck. And then we use this to just send to grave. Goodbye. Get a draw 1 now. Eldlich in hand. Again, that's another reason why Eldlich is so great against like a lot of the stun decks that you might see in the XYZ event, because you can just have Eldlich plus some card in your hand to target a really problematic back row you're having trouble dealing with. Yeah, this event I think has been really solid. Obviously, other people have had different experiences with it. I've seen a lot of people online saying like, oh, the XYZ event is terrible. I hate the XYZ event, but I think it's fun. I probably could have used it as an excuse to try out like Zombie World Eldlich, which I'm hoping to try out again soon. However, because there's so many decks that like hate on the graveyard, like a Rise Heart, I figured going more heavy on that might not be ideal. But I had a lot of fun. I hope that you had a lot of fun. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.